Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got my weekly recap video for you all. As of now, we're about 4 weeks into the off season, so hard to believe it's been a full month. And at this point, I'm 3 weeks into school, so I'm really starting to roll on that schedule. My body seems to be overall adapting to things pretty well, but I know I'm significantly more tired at the end of the day, running into just some issues, struggling to stay awake driving home, or, it hits 10 o'clock and I'm just falling asleep wherever I am, basically. But with that said, training's kind of the story of three sides here. As you can see, safety bar squat is slowly but surely moving up. I didn't progress it as much as I thought I was going to. I originally planned to go up to like 545, but I was feeling just a little beat up on this day one, so I tapered it to 535, and then I did progress my RDLs to 455 pounds. So overall, squat and deadlift, you'll see this is a theme, are going well. And then this is why I titled the video in the thumbnail, there's always a trouble child. Right now, that trouble child is my bench, which, I think it's simply a little bit of overuse soreness, right? It's certainly not an injury, but it's sore, and I can tell kind of inside my left shoulder whenever I go through a range of motion, it just kind of yells at me. And I have these fluctuations throughout the week where I'll have one day that feels like pretty decent. Like this first day out of the week was pretty decent. I pushed it up to, as you could see there, 315 pounds for my sets of 10. And then incline bench tends to bother it a little bit more, especially if I'm aggressive on there. So that's why you notice I slowed down the reps, and the weight's still really light for those sets. And then, as I'll talk about later in the video, the later days of benching start to deteriorate because the shoulder's still tired from earlier volume. But here I've got hex bar deadlifts. I did progress these up another like 40 pounds. And last week, if you all remember, I couldn't find the hex bar. I still don't know where the thing was last week, but it's back, so we're good to go. And then I have my sets of 4 on bench, which honestly I was hoping for a much better outcome here. I was thinking I was going to get to go up close to 400 pounds, but in warming up, my shoulder was just kind of yelling at me a little bit, saying, hey, don't push it. And that's exactly what I did. So I stuck with 365 pounds for those sets of 4, trying to just work around that shoulder as much as possible. And then here we are, my final day of the week. So I would say either these or my conventional deadlifts were the lifts that I was most happy about throughout the week. I actually feel like squat and deadlift are moving very well right now, especially because last week I hit 620 for these sets. It was a 3x4 at RPE 7, and I felt like last week was a bit of an overshoot with 620 pounds. So of course I always try and progress a little bit. That's why you can see that one set was 635. I did 2 sets at 635 total, and then my final set was at 640. I bumped it up a tiny bit, and overall I'm happy because I think the RPE on these squat sets overall were lower than the sets from last week at 620 pounds. So we've gone up in weight and down in RPE, which is always a promising sign. So that's something I kind of would like to convey to you all. Whenever one lift is down, for example, my bench, I'm having some trouble with my shoulder. Take the wins in other lifts, right? So I could walk away from this week very happy about my squat, very happy about my deadlift, and I just trust that we'll deal with the bench, right? And we'll get it sorted out and we'll get it moving in the right direction. But as long as you have at least one lift that is moving, you're going to be just fine. And then for the bench on this day, I did have a top single at 8. This was one of those things. It was like the opposite of Thursday, especially after squatting. So, just having my shoulder pinned back, it was somewhat sore already. But I took a lot of time to warm up, and I warmed up very slowly and methodically. And before I knew it, I was at 405 pounds. And you'll see this moves very well. It's more of the descent that bothers me because I have that achy feeling in my shoulder. But once I have it paused on the chest and the press, it's, way less than an at 8 RPE, which is good. That's a promising sign. At least I can still have 400 plus pounds in my hands on a weekly basis. I'm not going to get weaker from taking it easy on certain aspects. So like these were the back offs. They were supposed to be sets of 6, and I just did 275 pounds, right? It's more or less going through the motions and just practicing technique at this point. There was no struggle here, but I had to kind of pick and choose where I was going to back off to save that shoulder, and hopefully in the long run that recovery catches up and then the pain goes away, and that's when we can really progress. So that's the plan overall for the bench. And then closing out here, these were my conventional deadlifts for the week. And I'm pretty sure this is a PR set of 8. So I'm super happy with this to hit 6 plates for 8. I was trying to think, I've maybe done something close to this, like 575, but this is at an RPE 7, and I've definitely not hit 585 for 8 at 7. So this was a great way to kind of close out training. I had a 2/3 great week, I would call it. Great squats, great deadlifts. Bench was meh, but it'll come around. I'm getting used to the school schedule, diet, all of that. So thank you all for tuning in. As always, please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one. Happy lifting.